Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. As all of us know, the foundation of any great speech is to first be well versed in the topic you're going to discuss. In order to become well versed, you have to be an effective learner. Back in the day, I used to memorize a bunch of facts and figures whenever I wanted to learn something. But that's not really learning. Now I do things differently. I focus on understanding the topic at hand, with the facts and figures being the byproduct of that endeavor. That being said, with this speech, I wanted to go over a few learning techniques that each of us could apply when preparing for future speeches. And just so you all know, this is going to be the most informative speech you'll hear on this topic. Let's get into it. I've broken down my process into 5 steps. So step 1 is to choose your topic wisely. This might seem very obvious, but I always ask myself if I'm genuinely interested in learning said topic. Is there any real utility in learning this? When I was in university, I thought it would be quote unquote cool to do a deep dive into all things related to material science. What a waste of time that was. It was legit so boring, and this is coming from somebody who enjoys reading finance. Step 2, identify and research. So once you've chosen your topic of interest, jot down everything you know about the topic. You might know nothing, and that's completely fine. The point here is to identify existing gaps in your current knowledge. Now it's time to research. I think of it as both horizontal and vertical. Horizontal gives you that breadth, that big picture overview, and you can use, dare I say it, Wikipedia to do that research. And then there's the vertical research. This is when you do that deep dive, you go down that proverbial rabbit hole, so to speak. I think everybody's go-to resource is Google. And so many news and research articles to peruse through. But I still do think books have a lot of practical value, though I don't think an entire book has to be read though. At least in my opinion, you find that nugget you're looking for and move on. Do not feel obligated to read the entire book. I remember reading this book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. The author made his point in the first 50 pages and then kept reiterating the same thing over and over and over again. To me, that was a waste of time. In addition to books and Google, I find listening to podcasts on Spotify or Apple and social media sites like Twitter and LinkedIn highly insightful. Lots of great content creators out there. They just might change the way you think about a topic. A word of advice: if you do end up listening to podcasts, put it at 1.5 times listening speed. It helps move things along quicker. Reduces the monotony. Step 3, engage with your community. The old adage, it takes a village to raise a child, holds true in this case as well. Learning is communal. I personally use Twitter to engage with the community. Through Twitter, I was actually able to reach out to an investment fund manager and have him answer a multitude of questions. Another word of advice on this though, before you start asking experts on Twitter questions, make sure to establish some sort of rapport with them. I normally mention an item of theirs I found interesting and thank them for it as a way of doing this. Top of all this, I found talking to just friends and family eye-opening as well. On more than one occasion, I've been at a loss of words because I wasn't able to answer their questions. This again pinpointed gaps in my learning, which takes me to step number 4, and that is to teach. So once you think you've got some mastery of the subject, make sure to teach it to somebody. The famous physicist Albert Einstein once said, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old and have them understand, you probably don't understand it too well yourself. If you find yourself complicating the topic whilst explaining, head back to the drawing board and reassess. Overall, teaching will help reinforce everything you've learned. Step 5, reflect and review. So reflect on the areas you weren't fluid at and keep trying. Remember that learning is iterative and none of us get it right the first time around. None of us get it right the first time around. Oh, shoot. And as I mentioned before, small daily improvements, on a daily basis compound into large results. So never forget that. So to sum up, we have step 1, that is to choose a topic wisely. Step 2, identify and research. Step 3, engage with your community. Step 4, teach. And step 5, reflect and review. Hopefully I've given each of y'all a nugget or two to incorporate for future speeches. Good luck.